I was like, it took me the same effort to make £1,000 sale as it used to take me to make a $40 sale or $20 sale. Dare I say, less effort.
Now, I want to dig into your journey a little bit more now, Suraj. So in terms of like when you sort of got up and running, started making sales, how long did it take you then from when you first started running ads to when you made your first sale?
So I think it was just under 2 weeks and I made the first 2 sales. One was just over £1,000 and one was a much smaller amount of an accessory. I think someone else had bought it. But I was like, yes, this now works. And I remember exactly where I was. You may see I'm wearing a hoodie. It's a Spartan hoodie. I outside of my dropshipping life, I run extreme obstacle courses and races all over the UK and all over Europe. And I was in the car, parked up I think I was in somewhere in the West Country, in the middle of nowhere, parked up in this huge field in my training kit, ready to take on my next Spartan race. And I was sort of packing my phone away, putting it in the glove box so I can go and do my race and come back 3 hours later. As I was putting the phone in the glove box, the cha-ching went off, the famous Shopify sound, which is now very fast becoming my favorite sound in the world. And I looked at it just before I was sort of half out of the car, one leg out of the car, looked at it and I was like, I think it was £1,010 sale. And I looked at it and I just froze for a moment. And that wasn't the second sale. The first sale, I think, was £300 or £400. And I said, I just had to pause for a moment because the realization dawned on me then. Just before I was about to run this extremely grueling race, physically and mentally grueling, I was like, it took me the same effort to make £1,000 sale as it used to take me to make a $40 sale or $20 sale. Dare I say, less effort, because I didn't have to push as hard. And it's that weird dichotomy that, a higher value customer is often easier to sell to than someone looking to spend just £20 or $20. But that aside, the concept of it, I wouldn't say that's when the penny dropped. I knew this would work, but really solidified it, proved the concept, and it gave me that confidence to go and run the race, knowing that I could potentially come back to another sale. I didn't, just for transparency. I was putting it out in the universe. I was running this race. I was like, yes, go back to the car. I'll have another sale there. Universe didn't comply on that occasion, but since then it very much has. But that was the moment, James, that the penny sort of really dropped, and I was like, wow, I can do exactly what I've learned and what I've implemented here through this course, and that can really work. I hope does that answer your question?
Absolutely, yeah. And I love hearing I love asking that question because I love hearing the different stories of where people were when they get their first sale, because they can be here, there, or anywhere, or asleep, or ill, or anything you can think of, and that's when these first sales come in. So I love to hear those stories, and fascinating that it was while you're out doing something else, which is often the way. It's just you have that proof of concept there, knowing that you front load the work, and now because you've done the work in the past, you can get on with your life doing whatever you choose to do, and the money can come in without needing you there, and that will come in more and more as well as you hire VAs and so on and so forth. So you mentioned earlier that I think you've tipped up to about £12,000, £13,000 in total sales now. And how long have you sort of been running ads for now since you first went live with your first campaign?
Yeah, so just over 2 months. So I started on the 1st of October. October, I think I made probably about £1,500, £1,700 in sales. So relative to where I am now, it seems like now a slow month, but that was the first 30 days of the ads kind of running and learning, collecting the data. I was really having to force myself to be patient and not tinker around with the ads and the configuration in the first 30 days. I know, again, in the community, see lots of people get frustrated with that process, but it will happen. And so, in that first 30 days, I think there was a maximum of like 3 sales coming to about £1,500, £1,700, give or take. Nevertheless, that broke even based on the ROAS target that I had set. And then November, it really kicked off. Ironically, not over Black Friday. weekend at all. It wasn't really a great weekend for me because there wasn't that many sales in my niche. But the whole month of November, the ads had 30 days of running. There was a lot more data for them to process. And so then November took me to another 9,000 or so of sales, just under 10,000 of sales. And then December, where we are so far, a week in, I think we're already on another 3,000 or 4,000. So hoping for a good month again. But now I can see, November wasn't just a fluke or a one-hit wonder, so to speak. I can see the pattern for December is similar.
That sounds amazing, Suraj. And the trajectory that you're on, like you said, going from that kind of few thousand in the first month up to where you're at now. I mean, that trajectory continues, which there's no reason why it should not, right? With your SEO increasing, with your ad optimization, with new suppliers coming on board, with the amount of action that you're taking, continuously absorbing knowledge like a sponge, just taking action. Who knows where you're going to be at this time next year, right? So I guess the thing I'm always interested in is how this affects and impacts your wider life, because the money is great, but that is an enabler to a dream. Usually it's to, like, the reason why you did this wasn't just for the numbers on a page. It was so that those could provide you freedom to whatever it is. So I'd be interested to know, how will the success of your e-commerce business that we're on that precipice of right now, like that clip base, it's about to really take off, how is that going to change your life? And how are you most excited, or what are you most excited about it enabling you to be able to do?
It's a great question, Lewis, and I think it stems right back to, understanding your why. Why did I invest in this course in the first place? Why was I even looking? Why was I interested in developing another income stream? I could have just stayed in my regular sort of 9 to 5, if you will, and just sort of carried on. For me, it's twofold. One is the really fun side of things, the lifestyle, and the other is a little bit more serious. I've been self-employed for a long time, before my current job that I'm in right now. And I always had that insecurity about all of the boring things in life, like a pension, or like, like health insurance and all of that. And being self-employed, I never had any of that. If I was sick, I don't get paid that day. And that was my life since when I left university, 20 or 21-ish, when you graduate. Didn't really get into the corporate world, wasn't for me. So I very quickly ended up in self-employment until my mid-30s, 3 years ago. And so, the best part of 15 years, all of my 20s and half of my 30s, I was self-employed. Sort of living kind of month to month, I guess, not really having enough to build a good pension pot like a lot of my friends were in corporate jobs, climbing the ladder. There was no ladder to climb. It was just my own stairs up and down my house. There was no corporate ladder for me to climb. And whilst I enjoyed that freedom and that lifestyle, a niggling part of me in the back of my mind was always like, well, I'm not in as good a financially secure position if something were to go horribly wrong.